So I guess we're on to phase 3 of the gravel garden, or gravel area, as I prefer to call it. I've now got the hardcore down, so what I was talking about was the MOT one, which is basically road planings. Let's go up to here. So you can see quite chunky bits all over. This is the kind of thing you can expect to buy. And I've now covered it all the way. So we've gone all the way down here. I've refreshed another little section here that I'd already put some in, but it wasn't deep enough. So I went for a sort of a fresh up just to make it look a little bit better. So I think now you can see truly that what this is going to look like. I've yet to put down the gravel. I've yet to put in the 30mm upwards round red gravel, and I'm also going to be putting on a smaller gravel, what most people would know as a pea gravel, and that's going to go over the top of it as well. And we've already got just the pea gravel here, but I'm going to add a chunkier gravel. Now the reason I'm putting a chunkier gravel in is because it's less likely to kick around. All gravel will kick around no matter what. People say that the flint is the better one because it tends to bind itself together. I totally disagree with that. I've had both, and both of them kick around irrespective of what you do. And if you're like me and you go out in the garden quite often and onto these areas and you've been walking on soil, you're going to pick it up irrespective of what you've got down. It'll just walk all over the place. So what we'll be doing next, now as you can see, I whacker plated it down. That is a vibrating plate that most of you will know it as, but I call it a whacker plate. It's whacked, it's knocked down, it's consolidated this. So you can see here that it's all consolidated, and that's looking good now. It's sort of showing now just what we hope to get as a finished result. And hopefully in the next couple of weeks I will be getting the gravel. I shall have it delivered. It's going to take approximately, I would say, around maybe I'm kind of ordering 3 ton of the bigger stuff and then 1 ton of the small gravel, the pea gravel. But the 30mm upwards round will be ordered as 3 ton. Now I know that I've not calculated this, but from experience, that's about what it's going to take. Now, to cover this area as it stands has taken 3 ton. Now, to be honest, we could have done with more because it wasn't quite deep enough in places. It is okay now. I've managed to move bits of it around, and it's looking fine. It's not a problem, but it could have done with more. The thing is, when you're going to put some gravel on here, you don't need to worry too much about getting the same amount that you've just used. So I've used 3 ton of hardcore, but I wanted it to be quite thick. So I set about that by putting 3 ton down, and I was able to spread it around. But, quite honestly, I could have done with another ton, and I could have quite easily lost that ton all over here. No problem at all. Now, with the top gravel, it's never meant to be a thick coating. It's only meant to be a top dressing. Lots of people make a big mistake here and they actually put simply gravel down onto an area. You can't do that. You can, but you shouldn't. And the reason you shouldn't, because if you just put gravel down onto say a dugout area, firstly, it's going to sink into the gravel itself, into the soil itself. And secondly, it's just going to encourage weed growth. You'll be replacing it on a regular basis, and that's not good because that's not what you would have intended to do. So by putting down the landscape membrane, which I've told you to do on a previous video, what that does is it stops it sinking in. It allows you to put that on top of it, and then once you've got your sort of, depending which hardcore you use, once you've got your hardcore on there, it will stop the two meeting the soil. So the membrane's set there to stop the MOT one, which I've got down, the hardcore, going into the soil. It creates a barrier. So if you've never done it before, that's what you need to be doing. And the top dressing is the fancy bit. That's it's like the hundreds and thousands of your cake, really. It's just the top bit to make it look pretty. You shouldn't be using just gravel. That's not the way we do it. All you'll do there is you'll create almost a sea of gravel where you'll almost walk through it. So try not to do that. Try to do it properly. If you're going to do it and you're going to spend time and you're going to put plenty of time into it, then at least spend a little bit of money on it as well. And do it right. Don't do it wrong. No point. Well, there's no point doing the job twice. People do it all the time. They just get it so wrong. So I'm just here to sort of I'm not here to tell you off or moan at you, even though I sound like I am doing. I'm here just to make sure that you're aware of how it should be done. And then you're not going to have any problems whatsoever in the future. Now, I've already started planting certain plants in here. I've got this one here, which is a fennel, and it's a kind of bronze form that's supposed to stay browner longer, so that's already in. I've got one or two other plants in here. I've got this sedum here, and this is a sedum. That's there, and that will grow all over the place. I've got a little grass in here. I think I've shown these before. But a lot of the plants will go in afterwards. So I've left little planting pockets. You must do this if you're intending to put some plants into the area. I suggest that you do this sort of plan it beforehand. So leave little areas like that. It doesn't need it. What I shall do when I put the gravel in, I will actually make it come into this section here, and it'll sort of filter into those borders. So there won't be a problem with that. But if you know you're going to be digging a bigger plant in, so like I've got this English yew here, it's Taxus baccata David, which this one is, which I've cloud pruned. I'd already planted that, so I had to be careful about how I was going to put this hardcore around it, and it's worked. It's doing all right. It's not going to cause a problem. The compaction's not going to cause a problem because I've left plenty of space around it. Now there's more space than you realise because I've cut the fabric already around it. The stone is simply sat on soil as well, so it shouldn't be a problem. That'll do well. With the box edging, that was already in, as I've said before. Planted other things like the Ophiopogum, this Planiscarpus nigrescens, that was planted in, and I've not gone up to that, but you can pretty much see what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be putting the pea gravel over to these sections, just to dress it up and to make it look nice. And then once the actual gravel's down, then we can really go to town on the planting, and hopefully we'll be out of this sort of stormy season that we found ourselves in at the moment. It's mid-February, and we've got a multitude of storms crossing England. But I've taken the opportunity to come out here in between rainstorms just to show you how far I've got, and I'm quite pleased with it. It's a marathon. It's not a sprint. It's a bit of a cliche, but it's true. You should take time and enjoy what you're doing. Don't be rushing things all the time. There's plenty of time to sort these things out. I mean, it's winter, effectively, and getting out into your garden at any time of year is great, but, winter time, a lot of people tend not to come out because it's too cold. But when you're doing jobs like this, it warms you up. It's all right. Us proper gardeners, this is what we do. Get out here and do it. Now, I'm more of a landscaper, aren't I, at the moment? I'm not a landscaper by trade, and none of us are, but we're all capable of doing something like this. You're amateur, any amateur can do this. It's just having the knowledge on how to do it, and the time, the will to do it, and the need to do it, really. And that's all it is. It's only your own mind that stops you creating something like this. It's not going to be easy. No one said it was going to be easy. It's hard work, but it pays dividends in the end. And once the gravel's down here, you're going to see exactly why it was worth doing all this effort. And as spring comes and as summer approaches and all this border here starts growing and all the plants down here start growing, you're going to really get to appreciate it. So, yeah, so that's pretty much the gravel garden. What did I say? Was it phase 3 or 4? I can't remember. Memory's gone. But hopefully you'll you'll take heed and sort of take some of my advice on what to do, and hopefully this little bit's helped you. Now I'm really looking forward to getting the gravel down. That's quite an exciting part of the process, and I can't wait to do that. But wait, we must. But that will be soon. Don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube videos and press the little bell, which is the notification, and it'll tell you every time I post up here. It'll let you know. Don't forget, I'm still doing podcasts. Got 1 or 2 interesting people coming on in the future. Already done 1 or 2 interesting people, and that'd be good if you just look for Up at Grassy Bottom on all the podcast platforms. I know I mention it on every YouTube I do, but you know, I've got to publicise it somehow. So thank you very much for looking, and I shall be back on here as soon as I get the gravel down. Okay, thank you. Ta-da.